Welcome to the first Global Tax Talks Tax in 60 Seconds of 2026. I'm Will Morris and expect to hear a lot more this week about the OECD side-by-side package that eventually came out on January 5th. It seems to conform to the outlines of the pre-Christmas leak with 5 safe harbors, but obviously now with a lot more detail. The first thing to say is that this is very welcome. A disorderly breakdown of Pillar 2 would not have been good, and the reappearance of Section 899 and a possible trade war would have been very bad news indeed. The agreement, as the OECD's so-called central record shows, really does solve most US problems by accepting US parented companies from the IIR and UTPR. So that does remove much of the US tension from the international tax equation. But there are still some issues to note. First, even for US companies, the existing full reporting remains for 2024 and 2025 using the Globe Information Return. And while the side-by-side agreement is meant to be effective 1/1/26, there is a footnote acknowledging that retroactivity may not be possible for some countries, and in those cases, some UTPR may be owing, and the reporting that goes with that. Likewise, the agreement spent a lot of time buttressing the QDMTTs, and again points out that that may require GIR reporting in some cases, so probably hold the champagne on reporting relief. We also have much more detail on the non-refundable tax incentive safe harbor. But given the OECD's and a couple of other countries' well-known antipathy to tax credits, it is neither overly generous nor terribly simple. And because some of the qualifications and caps, it is very heavily weighted towards developed countries where payroll is higher and manufacturing is more prevalent, so very little here for developing countries. On side-by-side itself, the criteria, the statutory tax rate level, the pre-existing nature and features of the domestic tax regime, and the required nature of the worldwide tax regime are all very tightly tailored to the US. But one might assume that other countries will try to qualify themselves, or at least try to take advantage of the new UPE safe harbor in relation to their domestic regime. We'll see, but it's hard not to imagine that other countries won't try to qualify. Finally, the simplification. The word count shows 60 mentions of the word simplification and 29 mentions of the word simplifications. Unfortunately, the new and amended rules don't quite get us there. In fact, in several cases, there is more complexity, as with the tax credit safe harbor. And while the much-trailed simplified ETR safe harbor is slightly less complex than some earlier drafts, it is in no way simple. A lot of work must still be done under the general Pillar 2 rules to apply that safe harbor. So a lot of work to be done here. Again, a lot to chew over, and to repeat the good news, a disorderly breakdown has for now been averted. However, to repeat what I said before Christmas, Pillar 2 is really not very stable, and 5 safe harbors to get us just to this point is evidence of that. And presumably this won't be the last time countries ask for something, now they've seen what has been got this time around. And there will be arguments over the qualifications, and of course a stock take or review by the end of 2029. So much more to come. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and come back next week for more analysis of this and other issues so that you stay global tax ready.